Now, this is a response video to Anthony Riley. I told Anthony Riley that Blackpool Tower seems to be on almost every night based on an email that I had with Blackpool Tower. Now, he's saying that this is not true. I didn't actually make this email and I'm lying. And he's challenging me to a hangout to prove that I actually have an email from Blackpool Tower that I asked them if it's on every night. Now, the reason why this is important is because of this video over here. If you can see, they made a video about a month ago, Flat Earth, St. Bees to Blackpool road trip. And the entire video there's no evidence in it. All the video is Anthony and Ranty driving to St. Bees. It takes about 2 hours, 2.5 hours to drive there. And they're so excited that they're going to be able to see Blackpool Tower from St. Bees. And that's going to prove that the Earth is flat, because you shouldn't be able to see it, or it should be behind the curve. When they get to St. Bees, do they actually see Blackpool Tower? So this is St. Bees, this is Blackpool Tower, and the distance is 51.7 miles. Let's say the viewer height was about 6 feet. So if we ignore refraction for a moment, the amount should be hidden is 15,000 feet. Even with refraction, 13,000 feet should be hidden. The tower is 550 feet, so it should definitely be hidden from St. Bees. And that's why Anthony went to St. Bees to try to see Blackpool Tower. There's no land in the way, and he reckoned that he will be able to see it. But when he got there, he did not see it. Instead, he saw a flashing light, and he said this flashing light is this lighthouse in New Brighton, which is actually further than Blackpool Tower. It's actually 75.9 miles away to this flashing light from where he is. And he said he could see this flashing light, which is a lighthouse which is a lot shorter than the Blackpool Tower. It's 75.9 miles. Even with refraction, 3,000 feet should be hidden. So yes, definitely it should be hidden on the globe, but as it was proved by Sean, that what he was actually seeing was a buoy about 5 miles away. The buoy was around here, 5 miles away, and he saw that buoy, and he had to admit a few videos later that Sean was correct. It was actually a buoy, and it wasn't this lighthouse. But it just gives you an insight to where Anthony's mind was at the time he was making this video. At the time he was making this video, he thought on a flat Earth, there's no reason why you shouldn't see a lighthouse 75 miles away. Even though the amount that should be hidden is 3,000 feet, he thought it's perfectly reasonable to see that far. He didn't say anything about tides. He didn't say anything about tides is going to block you from seeing it. He thought it's perfectly reasonable to see 75 miles, and even though it should be 3,000 feet hidden. So that's just what he was thinking at the time. Since then, he's changed his tune a bit, but let's have a look. Now, what he was saying is that the reason why I asked him, why don't you see the Blackpool Tower? I asked him in some comments, and he said the reason you don't see it is because it's not lit every night. And he brings it from this website, Light Up Blackpool Tower, where you have the opportunity to sponsor for £500. You can light up Blackpool Tower according to your request. And these are all the booked calendar dates. Now, if you count them all, there's about 23 bookings for a total of 35 nights a year. So according to Anthony, he said in a couple of videos that if the tower is only lit on these nights, otherwise it's not lit. So you have to look at this calendar. If it's not on this night, it won't be lit. He said that categorically without any evidence. It doesn't even make any sense, because if you count the amount of nights that it's lit up, that it's booked, it's 35 nights a year, which works out to 9%. So basically, according to Anthony, 91% of the year, it's not lit. He says this categorically. He doesn't bring any evidence that it's not lit. He just says it's not lit when it's not one of these dates. That just makes no sense. And I knew it makes no sense, so I decided, you know what, I'm going to actually email them and just to double check. I don't need an email, but I will. And this is the email. I actually emailed the copy of this email that they replied. So this is the email that they replied to me. And in order to understand that, I'll just show you, this is the email. But this is the email, the original email that I sent them. I sent them, I'm wondering if you can help me. Is Blackpool Tower lit up every night, or only the nights listed as sponsored on the website? And what color is the tower lit up when it's not sponsored? Are there any specific colors when it's not sponsored? And this is their reply. Thanks. Thank you for your email. The tower is usually lit every night. There are no specific colors other than when we have sponsored lights, as you have mentioned. Kind regards, Gemma. So this is the email. Yes, I took out some private details, but this is the email. And Anthony's saying I lied. And the thing is, you don't even need an email to. It's logical. It doesn't make any sense to say the tower is not lit for 91% of the year. So my question to Anthony is, basically, you're saying that the reason why we don't see Blackpool Tower is because it wasn't lit that night. And I have a similar question. What about the Ferris Wheel? Ferris Wheel from Hoylake is 28.9 miles. I put the viewer height 38 feet because the viewer height was 27 feet plus the tide. So I'll give it to you the tide because it was low tide that night. So that has to be factored in. And the amount that's hidden with refraction is 246 feet. The Ferris wheel is about 130 feet tall. It's quite a big structure. It's quite a bright structure. So the question I have is, why wasn't it seen? And the reason I give is very simple, because even with refraction, 246 feet should be hidden, and it's about 130. And I said there's actually a bit more. In my previous videos, I showed there's actually a bit more than standard refraction. It's about 11% more. So if you just add 11%, let's say another 24 feet, so let's put it to 275, or sorry, so let's say it's 215 feet should be hidden. It's below the curve of the earth. That's why you don't see it. Now, the reason Anthony says you don't see it, the original reason was that it was closed. It's not open. But you can look at this website over here. It says that this facility is open January the 1st to 31st of December. It seems to be open every night. So unless this website is incorrect, you need to explain to me why we don't see the Blackpool, the Ferris wheel. And the reason why you don't see the Ferris wheel, the latest explanation is because it's hidden by the tide. And that makes absolutely no sense. The time this photo that was taken from Hoylake, it was low tide, very, very low tide. It was about 11 feet lower than mean sea level, which I can prove in another video. But so I gave it to you. I gave you the low tide. I gave you everything. But the reason why you don't see it is because it's behind the curve. Low tide would not block the tower. Now, when you made this video about St. Bees, you were thinking it's perfectly reasonable to see 75 miles to New Brighton. That's reasonable according to your mind, even though the Globe Earth said it's totally unreasonable, but according to your mind, it was reasonable. So my question is, why can't we see the Ferris wheel? According to you, it should be totally reasonable to see it. What's blocking it? So you keep on changing your explanation. When you made this video about St. Bees, you said we can see it. We should be able to see 75 miles. We should be able to see the Blackpool Tower. Now you're saying no, it's being blocked by low tide, which absolutely makes no sense. How does low tide block seeing Blackpool Tower? It doesn't make any sense. So I have a couple of questions here. Why did Ranty say the Ferris wheel was closed on the night in question when we know the Ferris wheel is open to every night? It's shown on the website. Why is that something which a simple Google search proves that you're lying? So as far as I can tell, this Ferris wheel is open every night. So it should have been lit up. Why don't we see it? And the other thing is, you assert with no evidence that the tower is closed every night, that it's not sponsored. So as I said before, that means that it's not open, that the tower is not lit for 91% of the year. Does that make any sense? And then another thing is, you claim I deleted comments, and you know that comments are often deleted by YouTube, as what happened with Sean's comments. So why are you claiming I deleted comments when you can easily look in your spam and see the comments, and I can check? Why don't you just check your spam folder? And maybe you just deleted them so you can claim that I did. I don't think you deleted. I think YouTube deleted them. But again, you're not doing your due diligence. Just open up your spam folder and you'll see my comments are there. Um, and finally, you claim that you seek the truth. When you ignore the many times I've debunked you so many times, and you just go through my videos. If you're saying that I'm wrong, my videos are very detailed with a lot of numbers, a lot of calculations, um, very precise numbers. All you have to do is show that I get my numbers wrong, I get my calculations wrong, and then you have debunked me. It's not hard to debunk me. All you have to prove is something that I assert is wrong, and you haven't done that yet. At the moment, I've showed many times that you are wrong and Ranty is wrong. The way they line up the picture of a line of sight over a map makes no sense at all. I already have a video on that. Go to the videos. You just keep on asserting that my videos are wrong without any explanations, without any evidence, without any proof. All my videos are fully backed up. So I just invite you, go see my videos, and everything is backed up. I did have an email conversation with the Blackpool. This is the email. I'm sure you're going to find something wrong with it anyways, but that's the email. So yeah, you should, it's just acknowledge when you make a mistake. Just acknowledge that your explanation. Truth is, I don't even need an email to explain that the Blackpool Tower is lit every night. It just doesn't make it. Just even without an email, it's quite logical. It should be lit more than just 9% of the nights of the year. 35 nights of the year, it's lit almost every night. Maybe there's some nights that it's not lit. I'm not sure, but but according to the email and according to logic, it should be lit almost every night. So yeah, you need to explain why we don't see the Blackpool Tower from St. Bees, which you made a whole video saying you will be able to see it. You also need to explain why we can't see this lighthouse, which you thought you could, but we now know it wasn't the lighthouse you were seeing a buoy. You need to explain um, why we can't see the Ferris Wheel. Should be able to see it from Hoylake. Why don't we see it?